We actually took a lot of the tools that we are using and reduced the budget. Instead of investing in tools, we invested in people and also invested in our own tools that were very unique and perfect for us versus us trying to fit into another tool.
This is Social Pulse Podcast Agency Edition, your go-to guide to solving your biggest marketing agency challenges authentically. I'm your host, Mike Allton, and each episode is an honest and frank look at what agencies go through, from turning clients to tackling tech and ideas that you can apply to your own business. And now, the rest of today's episode. Welcome back to Social Pulse Podcast Agency Edition, where each and every week we're talking to marketing agencies like you, going through many of the same struggles you're going through and sharing their stories. Subscribe to find in each episode inspiration, motivation, and the perspiration that go into growing and scaling agencies like yours. Now, does this sound familiar? You and perhaps a partner started your agency years ago because you discovered you had a real talent and a passion for helping your business clients with certain aspects of their marketing. You brought on one client and then another. Before you knew it, you had a full-blown agency up and running. But as you've hired more staff and brought on more clients, your workload has only increased. And you're just as involved in the day-to-day of your operations as you were on day one, leaving little time to think strategically about your agency. How do you train others to handle more of what you've been doing, and what processes can you set up to help? That's exactly what Jessika Phillips is going to talk to us about. Known as the queen of relationship marketing, Jessica's on a mission to redefine corporate America and create something she wanted to be a part of. Jessica founded Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision to give people with heart an upper hand. Her agency was recognized as an Inc. Best Places to Work 2022, is a Forbes recognized agency partner, partners with Facebook, Google, Agorapulse, and is a certified inbound partner with HubSpot. Hey, Jessica, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. It's so good to chat with you. And thanks so much for the intro. That
So
was awesome.
excited. Absolutely. I couldn't be more excited to have you on here. We've known each other for years. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. But let's start by talking about your agency, Now Marketing Group. Share more, if you would, about the kind of work that you're doing today, the kind of clients that you serve, and what's going on there.
Yeah, so Now Marketing Group, as you mentioned, was founded in 2010 with the heart of helping our clients outcare the competition. That's stayed tried and true since 2010, but we like to call ourselves a relationship marketing agency that really helps our clients outcare the competition. And we do so through helping them with website creation, social media marketing and management, video creation, as well as design, and a bigger aspect, more of the consulting and idea creation. So helping them really kind of get started from the inside out with that manifesto, identifying the personas and the best people that they can work with and who are really going to help that momentum growth for them that's sustainable. But we like to work as an extension of our clients' brands and help them outcare the competition.
Love it. Love it. So now, after more than a decade of serving these clients, you want to replicate yourself. Tell to me about what that
Yeah.
means and the challenges that you're facing today as a sole owner and an executive of the agency.
Yeah, so I should have remembered everything that I read from the E-Myth, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have read that book, being entrepreneurs that are listening to this podcast, but if you've read the E-Myth, they talk about that. They talk about this woman that's a baker and she loves baking. She loves creating her very delicious and unique creations, but then starts a business doing so and then realizing that, okay, there's a lot more that goes into doing a business than it is just baking, right? You have your hands in the financial aspect of it. You have your hands in maybe hiring and firing or, marketing and all the aspects that goes to running a business. And I think that has and still is one of the challenges of running an agency is really duplicating yourself on, if you're a visionary within your business, which most entrepreneurs are. They're that visionary. They have this dream that only sometimes they can see and everything's within their head, right? Like, here's
Mhm.
what I know that we can do really, really well. And that was me. I had this dream of redefining corporate America and what it would be like to really serve small, medium-sized businesses and help them grow their small, medium-sized business to and see their dreams into fruition. So when I started Now Marketing Group, it was easy. I had a few clients coming in. I was kind of doing the day-to-day by myself and doing the social media, helping, with freelancers and people that we had brought in as clients, and then realizing very quickly that it's not sustainable, both be the visionary in person to see things forward as well as doing the day to day. You have to pick a lane and kind of stay in what is really your zone of genius and hire people that can to support you in their zones of genius to really bring that dream to fruition. So I realized very early on, although I thought I could do it all, but you get burnout when you think you can do it all as an agency owner or any business owner trying to wear all the hats that you do need some support and you need to ask for it or figure out a way to get that support in order to keep moving forward or else you're going to stay stagnant.
I obviously don't work at an agency. I work for a B2B SaaS company, but I still relate so much to everything that you just said. There's so many projects that I just assume going into it, I'm going to do it all. I don't need anybody. I'm not going to rely on anyone else. I'm going to just do all the things. And that doesn't work out so well for me a lot of the time. And then to add on to it, the need to do things like fire people, that sounds awful. But to your point, that's something you've got to be able to do as an agency owner. And you said you started to figure that out kind of early on. When exactly did it start to occur to you that you needed to make a change? You couldn't just do everything yourself. And what were some of your initial steps?
Yeah, I think what it really occurred to me was when I realized that I was the bottleneck to growth, right? When people were coming to me with, oh, I need approval for this before I can do X. And sometimes it was as simple as just making a quote, right? Like making a quote for new business. Like we kind of pride ourselves on not having a sales rep at Now Marketing Group because people have just us naturally, which has been great through word of mouth referrals. But it's not great when your team that's getting these referrals because of the great work that they're doing don't even know how to quote somebody that's asking for help, right? And so I was a bottleneck to that. I was a bottleneck for approvals for, just launching the next marketing thing that we wanted to push out. I became a bottleneck with so many areas of the business that I often would just freeze or just be like, "Oh my goodness, I don't know where to start." And I just wanted to, keep us growing, in new service areas that we're wanting to grow into and new, ways that we can support clients, new, advertising avenues that were coming out there. Like one of the things that we started adding on right after the pandemic was, paid advertising management for clients. And that was something that I didn't really know how to do being that bottleneck. So it was really the bottleneck scenario. And I could sense the team members on just being able to quote a client or clients, needing support that they're waiting for an answer for. And that was the aha moment, I'd say, for me, with having so many emails in with people just needing an answer. And I'm like, you know what? There needs to be someone else that can do this. And also, it left me with less time to do the things I enjoyed doing as part of the agency and put me in the position of doing the things that maybe I didn't really enjoy doing, which was answering some of those questions again and again and again that were repetitive. And I just realized, like, if there was a process in place, we could streamline this so much more efficiently and get answers to people so much more easily and keep the process moving forward from there.
I love that you identified yourself as the bottleneck. I think that just so incredibly demonstrates your self-awareness and your awareness of the agency overall. To just to say that out loud is incredible. But it also made me realize that the solution, in addition to streamlining processes, is to hire one or more additional people. And I come from a Midwest town, not very far from you, and so I'm always budget minded and thinking about, gosh, that means spending more money on human capital. Did you have to go through like a financial exercise where you thought about, okay, how
Mhm.
much is this person going to cost, and how much of my time are they going to save? Is that part of that process?
Yeah, honestly, besides realizing that I was gonna take a year and just focus in on the SOPs that were some of them were in my head. Like, I've always been like a planner and having an action list, but my note taking necessarily of my action list wasn't something that I would consider an SOP that somebody else could immediately follow. So I wanted to clean that up first and foremost.
Mm.
But then I also needed someone else to come in, and I hired someone to come in and just interview the team, like third party that wasn't just me, really my team above all. And we have a great relationship. And I'm not just saying that, but we really do, where they're gonna, they know how much I care. So they often will tell me the good, the feel good kind of things and not want to maybe say the things that are harder to say that are true. So I wanted a third party to come in, say that to them, tell them like what kinds of things do we need to like clean up. And I also wanted this third party that I hired, I had them re-interview team members and re-interview them in a way that would say, who has really good leadership potential? Who has skill sets that are maybe organizational that could help me with these SOPs that I need to make sure are more streamlined in the business? Where could they see gaps in the agency from the client coming as an onboarding client to us serving them ongoing and beyond? Like,
Mm.
where were there any friction points or areas that we could have added some extra delight? And I wanted to get a fresh set of eyes on it because in my head it all made sense. Like, here's what we do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, but not everyone had that clear vision, right? Of exactly what steps to follow without maybe reaching out to me to transition from maybe a design process to then the social media management to the ongoing management, whatever that looked like. So I did hire a third party person to give me that insight, and they helped me see some things in the team members that were already there on my team, and just a couple extra things that we could do to transition them from being an all-star team member and what they were already doing to potentially a leadership position, as well as looking at areas of growth of like, look, I know the people that were where we were handling like ads for at the very beginning were very small budget items, but there was such a great request. It would make sense financially to bring on somebody that is super experienced at managing ads and doing so effectively, that were a lot smarter than me, and that's their zone of genius, and it would be profitable in that point. So that's what we did. We hired, somebody that was very specialized in ads, helped them train another person that, could be great at ads, and kind of had the person that was really great at their job and even train the next person that could either take over their role so they could move up in a leadership role, but also just an overall growth mindset of where are we going from here? Like, nobody wants to just start in as a social media account manager and stay there, right? Like, what is that path to growth? Being a small business, not only do you need that path for growth for your team members so they stay there long term, which I'm so fortunate. I've had team members that have been with me the whole time that I've had the agency,
Mm.
and the average tenure is 8 years, which is not usually heard of at an agency. But it can't just be money each year thrown at them. Like, what's that next challenge? What's that next level? So, to answer your question, again, I brought in a third party one to evaluate the team that I had, look for areas that we could streamline, and then who could we bring in to fill those gaps, or processes that we could bring in to streamline the gaps that we already had, to make sure the process internally was less, friction for us, but also for the clients that we're working with. It removes some friction for them, or some, time delays on getting back with them, um, in order to get answers to the questions that should be readily available.
I remember when you hired that ads guru, and that was a fantastic decision. But I also think that what you said about bringing a third party to interview your staff and talk to them is brilliant. I hope everybody listening has written that tip down and considers how you could do that into your own agency. Bring in a third party with a unbiased, unfettered view. Let them do anonymous interviews with folks and get that real, raw feedback on how you're doing as an owner. And some of it might be hard to listen to, but it's going to be important to listen to if you're going to grow your agency. Jessica, that's a fantastic idea. Are there other processes and tools that you're putting in place now to help set your agency up for success in the long term?
Yeah, we've put in so many since 2020, honestly. Like I said, that was my year of like introspection and wanting to hear the hard truths and what we could do better and so we could continue to grow. A lot of it, we actually got rid of a lot of tools. If I'm honest, we started building our own because I feel like I got into of okay, this tool will solve this problem. Now this tool will solve this problem. It's like a Frankenstein kind of system. So instead, we looked at what do we need as an agency? Like what looks good for us internally as like a now team portal that we can create where it has their time off requests, their everything, the knowledge base that they need, access to all the tools that we're using without having to, remember it. And then also for our clients, what looks, and works easily for them to have a very clear one place to go. So we're not telling them, okay, go check this Google Doc out for this, go check this out for that. So we broke it down to exactly what we needed and then we built it ourselves. So we built our own now client portal, which has like everything each team member is working on in real time, how much time we've spent on transparency. Anytime there's a new social update or something we need to communicate, it's all done in the portal. It also sends them out a notification. It reminds them of the plan that they have, if they need anything, who to contact, everything in one spot so they don't have to hunt it down or remember it. Because as we all know, being business owners, there's so many tools out there. So we actually took a lot of the tools that we're using and reduced the budget. Instead of investing in tools, we invested in people and also invested in our own tools that were very unique and perfect for us versus us trying to fit into another tool. The other thing I did, which was kind of bold, but I wanted to put it out there because, again, it was another bottleneck thing, is put our pricing, everything on our pricing completely on our website. So everything, our pricing is very clear. You can go to our website and see the pricing, how it's broken down, what's included, and we put videos of our process and how you get started. Everything streamlined on there. I just wanted everything to be out in the open. And the goal that I had said to the team and to clients and to everyone that I was talking with about Now Marketing Group and our goals at the time was to be the most transparent agency in the world. And I'm truly thinking we're getting closer and closer to that. But I just wanted everything out there and for everyone that is working with us, whether a team member or a client, to feel like I have complete access to everything. I know exactly how decisions are are made on our account and what to do next, and all the information is there, accessible at any time.
That is bold. I don't know a lot of agencies that are doing that or talking about it that way. And I loved your point about tools. In fact, listeners, I have a whole nother podcast called The Martech Show, and season 2, episode 4 is going to be with Jim Williams, the CMO of Uptempo. The entire conversation is about how, as marketers, we're relying a little bit too much on technology, which is a little ironic coming from the CMO of a SaaS MarTech tool, but that's the conversation we're going to have. So if you're kind of feeling like I might have too many tools in my arsenal here at the agency, check that out. But folks, we're talking with Jessika Phillips about making long-term decisions and plans for your agency. An important aspect to decision-making is having the right data, both for yourself and your clients. Did you know about the robust reporting that Agorapulse offers?
I actually can't say enough great things about the reporting with Agorapulse. I feel like that is my job security every month. My clients aren't that active on social media, which is why they have me manage their profiles for them. And when they get that report, it verifies that they're making a good investment.
The metrics downloads are so simple and easy to read, and it really helps me show where we are doing things right on social and where we need to improve.
So I think one of the main reasons why we decided to move to Agorapulse is because it's a more comprehensive, integrated tool for all of our marketing needs. So rather than what we have had to do historically with Sprout, which is use certain parts of that platform that work really well and then supplement it with other outside tools, by moving to Agorapulse, we were able to keep all of that into one technology platform, which is not only a time saver, but it also makes sure that our analytics and all of our reporting's on point because we're pulling all from the same source.
It's a really great platform for agencies. It makes it really easy to manage, but gives me really, really, really robust information that actually helps me develop better strategies for my clients and better plans of action.
What advice do you have for other agency owners who haven't yet gone through this process? What might you have wanted your younger self to know first?
Yeah, I would say do things earlier. Don't wait until it becomes, an issue where you become a bottleneck. I know that's easier said than done, but I would say like one of the very first things now that I even coach clients on is coming up with their processes. So writing out even the most basic things, so like your sales process covers you from start to finish and the process and then beyond like your communication, writing it every step of the way. Like, I'm going to send them an email after this, then an estimate, and then look for ways to streamline, reduce friction, and add delight. And think about it for every process that you do. So, like, if you weren't there, like any of us that are mothers, for example, the instructions that we write down for the babysitter, that kind of thing, it's kind of thinking about that for your business. So if somebody else were to care for your business and you were removed completely from the situation, how would you write down somebody to treat your baby, your business? What would you want them to know? How would you want them to handle it? And giving them the most detailed instructions for your SOPs as possible, which for anybody that's not heard the term SOP, standard operating process for your business, and think about every instance of your business and what that looks like from hiring, onboarding new clients, managing clients, ongoing, even potentially letting clients go or team members go. One other thing I hadn't mentioned yet, but that's a tool that we also brought in, which was our onboarding. So every new team member received the same exact training as each and every other single team member, and it didn't require just me to do that training for them and to be able to offer mentorship. Now I have leaders in place, a CMO that I've hired, a VP that I've hired that can do the same exact things that I was the only one doing, which then I had to block out like 2 weeks of, my time out of the office to train a new team member. Now that saved me time. So I would say writing out every single process that you have from training new team members, hiring, bringing on clients, and managing them, onboarding them, and beyond. If you can write that out in detail, and so somebody else can read it and follow it, you are going to thank yourself later. I wish I would have done it earlier, and I'm glad I have it now.
That is such a great analogy of the babysitter and bringing on new people and having that kind of thing documented from the start. That is so important. And I have just one more question, Jessica. And one of the things I love to ask every agency owner, because everyone's a little bit different how they do this, but I know you do a lot of organic social media for your clients. So I'm really curious, how are you measuring the impact of all that work? How are you measuring the impact of social media on the business for your clients?
So organic social is something that we take it in. So we're always measuring, the engagement rate of the social content as well as how many people are mentioning them in their social post. But the real things that really tell us the growth not only are the reduced churn and increased buy-in, repeat, referral business for clients, but it's the situations that happen that just show you how much community support you have. So I'm going to give you a really positive one. Actually both are positive examples, but one being, okay, it's a client's birthday, and they created for this restaurant, they created a birthday drink special to them. Not only did they get a ton of engagement just on this unique drink special that was for this, owner's birthday, but people that came in and ordered it and took pictures around it and were proud to share it. That is the true like measurement of organic growth. It's the people that really care enough, not only just to click that like, but to click that like, then come in, participate, and then to share it again with somebody else, take ownership of it, and they have this sense of belonging. Another example that happened last week, which was super unfortunate, is one of our team or clients. They were unfortunately tragically killed, and we had their community show and show out in not only outpouring of love and support for this company and their team that they lost, but also they showed up and asking, how can we help? How can we support this GoFundMe? How can we share out and share the legacy of this team member? It's the people that care. I think it's the caring aspect, whether they're showing up with their money, and showing up and ordering and buying and supporting a GoFundMe for their team, but also sharing the content and becoming part of the brand and that sense of belonging with them. So, some of those things are hard to measure when it comes to analytics, but you feel it, right? You can see it definitely in the analytics and the numbers and things that come through, but you can also feel it, see it, and experience it as part of a brand when it comes to organic, that people do care about your messaging because they see that you care about what you're putting out first as a brand. And that's always our very first concern and motto. And now Marketing Group, like I said, we help our clients outcare the competition. And that's what we measure back, is how much does their community, their clients, their, team members care about their brand too, because it's a mirror, right? Like I think it mirrors how much the brand cares first.
And I love those stories because they just so powerfully mirror how you approach marketing. It's something that you and I talked about extensively. The last time we got a chance to talk, you came on my Partnership Unpacked show, and we had a fantastic conversation about your relationship marketing. So, folks, I'll link to that in the show notes. But this has been terrific, Jessika. It's always a joy to talk to you. I just love hearing about the work that you're doing and how you're impacting the world, not just your clients, but your team members and everybody around you. For those who want to learn more about you and about your agency, where can they go to find you?
Sure, they can check out nowmarketinggroup.com. That you can see examples of how we're sharing transparency right there on the website, as I mentioned earlier in this show podcast. But if you want to learn a little bit more about me, you can go to Jessika, Jessika, Phillips, Phillips.com. And I'd love to connect with all of you, whatever social channel is your preference. Check out mine there and start a conversation.
Awesome. And that's all we've got for today, friends. Don't forget to find the Social Pulse Podcast Agency Edition on Apple and leave us a review. I would love to know what you think. Until next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Social Pulse Podcast Agency Edition, hosted by Mike Allton and powered by AgoraPulse, the #1 rated social media management solution, which you can learn more about at agorapulse.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player and be sure to leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Robbie Samuels hosts the On the Schmooze podcast. Robbie, tell listeners what to expect from the show.
Since 2015, I've interviewed entrepreneurs who overcame challenges to achieve success in their field or industry. Tune in to On the Schmooze to listen as I ask deep questions to elicit untold stories about leadership and networking.
And where can people subscribe?
Find the show at ontheschmooze.com or on marketingpodcast.net, or just search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard them. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.